Hi there! In today's video I'm going to tell you how to use a bead reamer and also give you some tips when to use it and when not to use it. So a bead reamer is basically a long, narrow, cylindrical file, and you use it for a variety of reasons on your beads. You can often buy a bead reamer set with a handle and a collet that you can unscrew, and you can add in bead reamers of different shapes. I rarely use these. I mostly use this one because most of the time I'm trying to increase the size of a very small bead hole. And this one, as you can see, the very tip doesn't have any file on it. It just has it further down. So this would be really enlarging bead holes. But this is the one I use most often. It's nice if you can find a bead reamer that has diamond tipped files, as they're far more efficient. So what do you use these for? Well, for example, say you picked up some inexpensive lampwork beads. Now if you take a close look at an inexpensive lampwork bead, you will see this powdery white stuff around the bead holes. And that's one sign of a not so well done lampwork bead. This is the bead release that allows the hot glass to not fuse to the metal rod that it's formed on. And in a quality lampwork beads, you can see all that white powder. In a quality lampwork bead, that would all be cleaned out. But in this case, it isn't. And so you could use your bead reamer just to clean that out. Now also, another problem with inexpensive lampwork beads is when you have these pointy shapes, they're often sharp and they can cut through certain bead stringing materials. So you could use your reamer to clean up those edges and make them less sharp. Like here's just a poorly made lampwork bead, and you could see it's got some bead release and some pretty rough edges. And in fact, this might be a case where I would use one of these to really clean it up. So that's one use, and also the same goes for ceramic beads. They can have very sharp edges that will cut your bead stringing material, and so cleaning them up is very helpful. Another bead that is difficult for a different reason are pearls. They have notoriously small holes, and sometimes you just need them to be a tiny bit bigger, and that's where just running the tip of the reamer through each end of the hole can be helpful and widen it just enough. Now whatever you're trying to ream out, be very careful that you don't use too much pressure. Especially if I were to try to use this one, where it gets pretty wide, it gets wider than the bead hole. If I'm to really force and press in there, I could quite likely crack the bead. So you do need to take care that you just work it a little bit at a time, nice and slowly, until you have what you need accomplished.